Alright, this is kind of an update on where the 1950's at as of tonight. Could have got a lot more done today, but I didn't even really get rolling on it till about 2:30 because I spent most of the morning either on the phone or running to get parts for it. I managed to get over this morning to a used equipment dealer over in Mishawaka that sells parts and stuff, and got 2 J bolts and then in the last dual hook I need to get the duals put on it. Went and got all the oil for it, antifreeze. Had to get some electrical parts for it at Napa. Got hose to redo the air intake and the lower radiator hose. Called Maybach this morning. Got an upper radiator hose ordered. Got the little curly Q radiator hose that goes from the thermostat housing down to the water pump, which is missing. Got a new light switch for it because I did find out the lights in it work, and the reason they didn't work is because there wasn't a fuse in it. Easy fix, but the light switch has some bad contacts in it and only works in 2 positions. So I got all that coming. Got fuel filters coming for it, hydraulic filter coming for it so I can change the hydraulic fluid. What else did I get coming from Maybach? I got the correct brackets that mount up here on these bolts for the remote to hang on, because these 2 brackets are homemade. That's not where they belong. It has the same style of bracket that the 1800s had. What else? I had a little whole laundry list of stuff I got ordered. I ordered a new water pump, a shifter boot, and there's one other thing I had to get ordered, and I got that stuff out of Corv's. And then after I got back and got to working on it again, I got a new line for the oil pressure gauge made because the old one leaked like a sieve. Ran all over the damn place today trying to find this 1/8" tubing, and everybody had it in copper, but nobody had it in steel, and I ended up having to buy some stainless, so I'm never going to have to replace it again. Got new lines made going to the bypass oil filter. Did that yesterday. And having spare parts around is finally starting to pay off because I had to put a new gasket there. We had one of those laying down in a 310 gasket kit. I got the steering box rebuilt today because it leaked like a sieve. I actually pulled the seals out of the old steering box out of my 1955 because I rebuilt that, and then about 20 hours in, it blew the end cap out and screwed the casting up, so it had all new seals in it. So I took those out, stuck in here, so the steering box is now rebuilt. Got the water pump pulled off today, so it's ready to go when I get the new one. We are going to remake these lines going to the steering box because they're no longer available from Agco, but Dad's got the stuff to remake them. Got the oil dropped in the motor. It's ready to be changed. I'm just waiting to start putting it back together. Drained the hydropower down. It's ready to get new oil and a filter on it. Just waiting to start putting it back together. Just a heads up for anybody that runs any of these with the 3-speed in it. Found out this morning talking to can't remember what his name is now. He's one of the mechanics out at Maybach. These things from the factory ran ATF. Type A, which is now Dexmark or Dexmark something. Not important anyway. Come to find out, the 2-speed, you're still supposed to run that ATF in it. On the 3 speeds, there was an update, and you're supposed to run Hy-Tran hydraulic fluid instead of ATF. So that's what we're going to dump in this, and I'm going to get my 19 through the rest of the spring, and then I'm going to change it because it's got ATF in it. So anybody that's running a 3-speed, you need to drop the oil and filter and change it to hydraulic fluid if you have, or Hy-Tran hydraulic fluid if you haven't done so already. We're going to use Universal 303, which is just a 30 weight hydraulic oil. I put a new solenoid for the glow plug because the other day, or yesterday, we had it up here, and we're checking to see if the glow plug actually worked, and the solenoid started smoking, so figured probably ought to change that. So put that on there, wire brush the terminals up real good. Had to put a new ground cable on it because the old one, about this much of the insulation had been melted off of it, and it's just bare wire. So got that on there, got everything cleaned up so it's good contact. Oh, what else did I get done on it? Got all new rubber hoses put on the oil cooler. Pulled some wiring off it that didn't belong on it. Pulled off the hoses that were the coolant hoses that went up when it still had the cab on it for the heat. Got those taken off of there. And I'm gonna have to call back out to Maybach in the morning, and I found out that the alternator bracket, one of the dog ears, is busted off of it. So, and that's most likely cast iron, so you can't weld it. So have to get a new one of them coming in the morning. Spent almost 2.5 hours power washing it. Then once I got the steering box pulled out of it, and pulled the fuel tank out of it yesterday so I could get everything up in the dash. So once I got the fuel tank and that out of there, I rolled it back out again today and power washed it again and got just as much dirt and grease off of it the second time as I did the first time. So she should be pretty clean now, although I've been looking and I still miss spots. This is all, since I've taken the water pump off, it's all just antifreeze. So got new springs, or return springs coming for the brakes and the clutch. Surprisingly on it, the brakes are good. They've only got maybe little 2 inches of free travel, so the brakes don't need replaced. I'm gonna have to do some tracing because all the lights work except this one, and I just put a new bulb in it and it still don't work, so it's got to be a bad connection somewhere, or broke wire. I hope it's just a bad connection because I don't want to trace that wire. But yeah, no real major surgery, just fixing all the stupid shit that you could see right off the bat. Oh, I took that big old dork of a toolbox off they had hanging on it, and the 1,000 RPM shaft was in it, so that's handy. As well as the stop blocks for the 3-point that go in the, well, I'll show you. I still haven't figured out, near as I can tell, you're supposed to take these out for moldboard plowing. I don't, because I don't know, but they go in here, and, because right now these will, well, they weren't for the fact that they're a little stuck. Yeah, that one moves. There's like 4 inches of free travel there, and these go in there and block it out so that they're solid. So those were in there. Had 2 Fleet Guard filters, one for the transmission and one for the over-under. They're the same filter no matter what, but those were in there. Found out this one might, this one's definitely been screwed with at some point, because the turbo on it, and I honestly won't know unless I took it apart, but the compressor housing is twice as wide as the one on my 1955. So I'm thinking it's actually got a bigger turbo on it, and it's not a Garrett, it's an Air Research, which I've never heard of before. So, but I'm sure they're, I mean, if it was a junk Chinese or cheapo aftermarket turbo, there wouldn't be any markings in it, so I'm sure it was probably a good, or sure it's probably a good turbo. And then the, all the locking wire, except that one right, nope, even that one, all the locking wire on the pump has been cut and is missing. So she's been screwed with. I'd be curious to get it on the dyno and see where she's at. But that's where it's at for now. My estate is fixing all the little stupid shit so it's safe to take to the field. Although mechanically I have no doubts it's ready to go, other than that little vibration in the 3-speed, which is only going to be cured by A, rebuilding the 3-speed, or B, finding a better 3-speed, and I'm leaning towards B. I'd like to find one out of either a real late 1855, 1955, or out of a 2105. Or, I guess a 2110 and a 285 would probably be the same, but either way, I'd like to find a late model 3-speed to put in it. Because the shaft, if indeed that is the problem in there, is that shaft going through the 3-speed, which is what Mike said it was, then that's a $2,200 fix to put that shaft in there. Yeah, right. So, I'm trying to think. I don't think I pretty much said everything I got done to it so far. Got new belts for it. Yeah. So, get all the stuff that's blatantly obvious, and that should keep all the surprises to a minimum. There's two ways to farm with a piece of used farm equipment. You can be the guy that brings it home, doesn't stick a wrench on it, and takes it straight to the field. First time it breaks, he's sitting there bitching about how he needs a new tractor because his old stuff's still breaking down, yet. And then he's fixing it as it breaks. Or you can be the guy that brings it home, sticks it in the garage, takes inventory of what you got, fixes everything that can be fixed right away, and then tackle the big jobs as you have time and money. And if you do it the second way, you're going to be a whole lot happier with used farm equipment. If you do it the first way, all you're going to do is sit there and bitch about how you can't farm with used equipment. Now, there's also guys like in cow camp situation where you're probably never going to be happy running old equipment strictly because of the fact that new equipment lends itself better to what you're doing. If you're doing lots of loader work, lots of in and out of buildings, lots of clutching, you're never going to be happy with an older tractor because a wet clutch and shuttle shift will greatly increase the service life of the tractor. If you're doing a lot of heavy field work like what these older tractors were meant to do, you do a good front to back on them like what you should do when you bring it home. Get all the farmer fixes undone, take care of all the major isms that you'd expect out of a 40-50 year old tractor, fix what's broke, fix what looks like it might break. You can go out, they'll run and run and run and run. And once you do that, you basically got yourself a new tractor for half the price. And yeah, it's still going to break, but brand new tractors break. So it's all just a matter of what kind of person you are, how well you take care of your crap, and what you're willing to put into it. And If you don't like wrenching and or don't have the time to wrench, or have no desire at all to be working on equipment, you just want to be able to go out, hit the key, and have it run, you'd probably like new equipment better. If you don't mind doing a little wrenching and like to have a little bit more iron under you and like to be able to work on your own stuff and not have to call out a dealer tech just to get a scan tool to figure out what the heck's wrong with the tractor to begin with, you can do pretty good running used equipment, and it doesn't even have to be something this old. I mean, there was a lot of good iron that came out of the late 80s, early 90s. John Deere 40, 50, and 55 series, good tractors. K7 and 8000 Magnum series and the Maxim series, good tractors. The New Holland Genesis series, good tractors. I actually, especially as far as the early 90s go, there's not really a bad one out of the bunch as far as any manufacturer is concerned. And same deal, you bring it home, pull it in the shop, fix what needs fixed, stick it back in the field, and there is a lot of guys still making livings with Magnums and 55 series Deeres and Genesis series New Hollands, and so, but this is the stuff I like using, so this is what I'm going to stick with. That's the other thing, you need to stick with what you know. Because if you bring something home that you have absolutely no clue, you're not going to like it either way. So, in every piece of equipment there's a learning curve. But at least if you try to stick to one or two main brands, there is enough in common with all of them that you can, even when you bring something completely foreign to you home, like this is the first 50 series tractor we've ever owned, never even worked on one before, but there's nothing in common with it, with the 1800, my 1955. It's like, okay, yeah, here it is, tractor. Shoot, there's even stuff in common with this from the fleet lines that, I mean, yep, there it is, tractor. Now, if I was to bring something like a Farmall M home, or a 1066, or a 4020, I'd be cussing the son of a bitch because I'd have no clue how to work on the damn thing. So, but anyway, I guess that's enough rambling. This is just a little update on what's going on with the T, and with any luck at all the parts will be here Wednesday, and we'll be snapping duels on it so we can go to the field Thursday. So, wanted to be working a lot sooner than this, but it rained again last night, so we're gonna need at least 2 good days of drying out. And we're supposed to get a little, they're calling for a little bit of rain Wednesday, but Lord knows if that's gonna happen, because the forecast has been changing 3 times a day here lately. So I guess we'll have to see what happens. So I guess that does it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.